1. I used to work at a dairy product factory, where I was the admin of the company. Although being called admin, I did most, if not all, digital record keeping, assisting production, ordering goods, shipping, and all the itty-bitty bits. I didn't necessarily like the job. I'm also lactose intolerant, which was ironic, but I enjoyed working with the manager, Ron, who valued my ability and dedication, and gave me the respect I am not sure I had ever gotten at a workplace before or since. For those who know about food production business, you'll know that one of the key aspects of the business is meeting the strict legal requirements in terms of control quality, and for most, if not all companies, they would hire a specialist in that field to manage and maintain all the government requirements, and this is where I met June. She is one of those people who knows everything and needs to be the center of attention. She also happened to be such a two-faced bitch that with someone who matters, such as the owner or the manager, she'll act as if they are lifelong friends, only to rip them apart as soon as they leave. She had openly complained about all the things that the manager had installed, which were for the legal requirements, and questioned his knowledge, authority, and overall competency, which was just despicable. She was the living embodiment of Karen, and I should have changed the name to Karen, but I wanted to keep the name similar to her real name. So if she comes across this, she knows exactly it's her I'm talking about. And for some reason, even before I started working there, she had something against me, which I was maybe too dumb or maybe naive to realize at the time. And down the line, I was told that it was because she wasn't included as a part of the hiring process to hire me. Mind you, her job is to keep records that all the legal requirements are being met and enforce such rules, nothing to do with hiring people. From the very first day, she just targeted me. I'm not kidding. It was anything from petty nonsense, such stuff as telling my manager when I went to use the toilet, to calling me incompetent and dumb in front of the entire team. There was one incident where she yelled and screamed at me for doing something she specifically instructed me to do, in front of all the team members. And it got so bad that Ron had to step in and cut her off. She was getting high on her power trip, and it felt like I was her punching bag. I would later find out that this was also how she treated another guy before I was hired, and it was a nasty pattern of abuse. I have had experience working in lousy work environments, but this was a whole new different kind of toxicity that I was not subjected to before. She had me multiple times contemplating resigning, questioning my own worth and whether the working in general is going to be like this for the rest of my life. About a year into it, I just had enough of the job, and I wrote my letter of resignation and was waiting for the end of the day to hand it to Ron, when he and the entire team gathered to announce news. The news was that June was leaving. I'm sure you can assume just how relieved and happy I was to hear that news, and quite honestly, the whole thing lasted like 10 minutes or so, but all I remember is that she is leaving. So 2 weeks later, it was her last day, and she had an exit interview and was gone. After the exit interview, Ron asked me to have a chat with him and told me how the interview went, and it was, to put it mildly, comical. She had stated how she felt underappreciated and how she felt her roles were being taken over by me. She also told Ron that I was one of the main reasons why she was leaving. The other reason was the work hours. She mentioned specific incidents to put the blame on me, which was essentially her shooting herself in the foot because, in one incident, when she instructed me to keep the record of all the laboratory tests in digital format, she said to Ron, while I was also in the room, "No, I'm not fucking doing that, let OP do it," and left the office, while slamming the door behind. You know what? Surprise to no one particularly missed her. Both her work output, which Ron and I had split and were doing better than she ever did, and her lovely personality. And I thought it was the end of seeing her. However, I was mistaken, and I couldn't have been happier to be wrong about that. A few months later, she came into the plant unannounced, as if she is the owner of the place, and demanded to see Ron, who was on a business trip. I told her that Ron won't be back for another week or so, and she looked down on me and bitched about Ron as she always did, then left. Exactly 2 weeks later, she came back again, and once again, unannounced, demanded to see Ron. This time Ron was there, and she went into his office like she owned the place, and the conversation I overheard was golden. She was there to get her job back, a job that I pretty much took over, other than the laboratory responsibilities which Ron had taken over and was doing an amazing job of. And she wanted to only work part-time. She spoke with so much confidence, or maybe it was arrogance, that you couldn't be able to tell whether it was June or Ron who was in charge. And Ron told her exactly what he thought. "No, we won't hire you back. Your responsibilities have been managed better than it ever was while you were here, and there haven't been any staff conflicts since you left. So why would we hire you back? And do not come into the plant unannounced ever again. Now leave." After he said it, it was silent for a while. Then I heard the chair moving, and I saw her walking out of the office looking quite upset. As she got into her car and reversed her car to leave, I yelled at her, "Bye, June," with a big fat grin and a comical wave, but that was more than I ever needed to wash away all the sorrow and pain that was inflicted by her. 2. While I was married to my ex-wife Renee, my friend Zephyr had made the running gag of "We're being buried under the avalanche of Renee's inadequacies," referencing a line from V for Vendetta. He had no idea how right he was. Let's go back more than a decade ago, when she had the custody of the kids. Whenever I came over to her apartment to pick up the kids, her place was in squalor. Dishes were legitimately stacked to the ceiling. Bowls with milk still in them littered her floor. Her table was covered with trash, and there was very little space to walk around her apartment. I warned her several times that CPS wasn't going to like how her place was. She kept passing it off that it's okay. It wasn't. She had a CPS worker visiting her frequently, trying to help her be a better mother. Please keep in mind it's important to remember that he was trying to help her, not take the kids. I told her that if CPS comes in and takes pictures, she's done. She nonchalantly tells me that they already took pictures of the kitchen and living room. "Renee, you are already screwed." She shrugged and blew it off. Fast forward a few days. This is what I was told by the CPS worker. My oldest, Tony, was trying to take out the garbage. The bag was overstuffed and ripped when he was trying to drag it down the outside steps. Garbage spilled all down the steps, and the poor child tried to clean it up by himself. This is when the CPS worker showed up for a scheduled meeting. My 2 youngest were playing in the front yard with no Renee in sight. The worker went up the stairs, past all the garbage, knocked on the door, and a very sleepy Renee answered. "Hello, Renee, where are your kids?" She replied, "They're playing in the other room." The CPS worker showed up at my door and asked, "Hey, can the kids come stay the night with you?" I said sure. I had a couple of rooms set up for them anyway. He brought the kids over, and the next day he knocked on my door again. When I answered, he said, "Oh my god, they can stay forever." The exact words may have been different. Today, Renee tells people that I was best friends with the CPS worker and we were working together to screw her over. Keep in mind, I tried to warn her about the state of her apartment. In fact, the CPS worker tore me and my mother a new one when our own place got messy. She claims that she was watching the kids from a window. If that was the case, she would have known he was coming and then the garbage spilled. Why wasn't she outside anyways? She knew he was coming. It was scheduled. Fast forward a couple years, I set up a court date to get the kids moved on to Pennsylvania. Renee had a counterclaim about my youngest not having her own room, how they don't get enough food, and other claims I didn't care to memorize. My argument was that I had a family down in Pennsylvania now, and that we had better resources down there for the kids. Which turned out to be better than I thought. Renee's argument was that she wanted our daughter. Now, I must add here that she lived in a senior apartment space. When I brought this up, she replies, "No, it's not." And the judge replied, "Isn't it for old and disabled people?" The court instantly threw out Renee's argument and okayed me moving to Pennsylvania. When the court was adjourned, I got the fuck out of the court. I knew the storm was coming. My mother wasn't so fortunate. She got an earful about how now there isn't going to be a female to help my daughter with female problems, even though there was going to be my current wife, Corn, to help her. Anyways, when I got to the car, I called up Corn and told her we're coming home. Renee tells people that I moved without any permission, that I got Corn pregnant while we were still married. I would like to know how that happened, since I didn't even go to see her until well after the divorce. And tells all of this to her mother, who was there at the hearing. It turns out that her mother has poor memory retention, which means she is using her mother's poor memory to feed her lies to make me look bad. Keep in mind, legally, I couldn't move without the court's permission. Renee even refers to the court's rule about having the kids see her during the summer. Now, last week is when everything blew up. Gas prices are up, bills are up, and money is down. We were scraping for cash, and it started to look like we couldn't afford to travel to Michigan this year. Normally Dylan, my adopted daughter from a relationship I had between Renee and Korn, drives down here with my grandson to take the two kids. Tony is an adult and I have a job to go to their mothers. Her money is a mess as well, so I call up Renee and ask for help. I told her that we need at maximum $250, which is half of what we need for one round trip. She thought I said $200, so half of that is $100. She said she had money saved up for kids' clothes and whatnot, which turns out to be $60. So I told her that we need $500 total to make sure we have enough gas and traveling across 2.5 states. This is when our daughter gets a text from her friend from Michigan, talking about if she doesn't come to Michigan, she will kill herself. I was having none of this. It turns out that she knew the amount and my daughter didn't tell her anything about money. So I call my friend's mother. Thankfully, she already nipped the text in the bud, and the threat was empty. So we had a nice conversation of what Renee is telling people, hence how I know. We got everything cleared up, and it turns out that Renee wasn't even telling her mother what was going on. So when she learned we would need some money, she was more than willing to cough up some cash so she can see her grandchildren. It turns out that Renee was even telling her mother that I was mad she was seeing the kids, which isn't true. The only thing that I had a problem with her mother about turns out to be a lie. I don't get Renee's endgame here. She's pushing away everyone she knows. She tries to twist the truth or fabricate something completely absurd, like the kids' clothes are so dirty they can stand on their own. And these are lies she tells the court. I was told when she sees anyone having public displays of affection, she gets insanely jealous. Gee, there might be a reason why you're so alone and jaded. 3. Hey guys, I have a fun story about when I used to work retail. A little bit of backstory. When I was 20, I used to work at the oh-so-famous Walmart in a not-so-safe neighborhood. This Walmart had many instances where customers and employees were attacked and jumped in the parking lot. Remember this because it's what the story is about. So my position at Walmart was almost a jack-of-all-trades. They would put me in any department depending on the needs of the day. It was to the point that I would hear my name mentioned over the store's radios asking for me to go to a different department frequently. Now, when I was hired on, I was told that, in my contract, the management team can put me in areas needed at any time during my shift, as long as I could work the area or had a certificate to use certain machinery. The only thing that could stop them from putting me in certain areas was the law stating that I don't feel safe or I feel that doing a certain task would harm me. Don't know if it's a federal law or just state law, that they legally can't force me to do it. At the same time, I was working in the sporting goods department when co-floor manager approached me. LP, they need you to push carts outside. Sorry, co-floor manager, but too many people have been jumped in our parking lot, which makes me not feel safe. I'm not going to do that. Hey man, I'm only the messenger, but I'll try to tell the manager who is asking you to do this that you don't feel safe doing that. Thanks. If you guys need me elsewhere, you know where I'll be. Co-floor manager then leaves, radioing the manager asking for me about what we talked about. I thought that would be fine and went on with my day. Well, about a few minutes later, I see the entitled floor manager fast walking towards me. Now, before this instance, I never had a problem personally with the guy, but he has always been entitled, because he felt his little position gave him power. So he stops next to me, and this is how the conversation went. You need to go outside and help with the carts, now. I'm still trying to be polite, and I tell him what I said to cool floor manager. Sorry, entitled floor manager, but like I said to cool floor manager, too many people have been jumped in our parking lot, which makes me not feel safe. The parking lot is safe and you know it.
Go out there now.
Dude, you don't remember one of the cashiers yesterday being attacked while she was getting to her car? And all the police cars that showed up? I do. That isn't the first time stuff like that happened. Again, I will not put myself in danger. He's looking angry because he's not getting his way with me, and he says,
So you're refusing to listen to do what you're told to by your superior?
Seriously? You know you can't force someone to do something at work if they don't feel safe, right?
I never heard of anything like that. If you're gonna act this way, then I think we need to write you up. Follow me to the manager's office.
Whatever you say. So we both head to the manager's office, where all of them are sitting at computers doing whatever managers do.
So I got OP here refusing to go outside and push carts. Go ahead, OP. Tell them what you told me.
He got a grin on his face, thinking that he'd won some battle at this point. I don't feel safe pushing carts because of the many times the store reported people getting attacked in the parking lot. I was told before that if I don't feel safe with the task, that management can't force me to do the task. Now, for some reason, Entitled Floor Manager doesn't know about this law, and is now trying to force me to go outside. If I am forced to go out and push carts, then I will just get in my car and leave and deal with the write-up. Now, the manager's office also had a smaller office in the back that had all the cameras for the store, and at the doorway I saw the store manager scoot his chair back to look straight at us.
So, OP, you don't feel safe out there?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Hey, OP, what department do we have you in today?
Sporting goods.
Okay, good. Please go back there and just continue working. Management here needs to talk. Once we're done, we will come to update you on what is going to happen.
They let me out of the office and closed the door. I went back to my department and continued what I was doing. About 30 minutes later, I see the Entitled Floor Manager coming back to me.
Hey, OP. You got a second to talk?
I'm putting down the items I was putting up and said, "Sure, what's up?" He looks upset.
I have to apologize about earlier. I didn't know about the law you brought up, and want to tell you that I was out of line for acting the way I was.
I'm trying not to laugh because I knew I was in the right. It's okay, man. I know you want to move up the chain here, and I think this was a good learning lesson for you.
Yeah, you're right. I'll continue working, and we'll call you if we need you somewhere else.
He left with his tail between his legs. I felt relieved that management backed me up, and I continued my work. Now, I thought this was the end of it, but let me tell you about the entitled Assistant Manager. Later on in the day, I went to the front end of the store to collect stuff that customers didn't want. I had my phone out because we were able to use the company's app to help us find where products went. As I was heading back to my department, I saw the entitled Assistant Manager coming towards me, as she was also waving at me to get me to notice her. As soon as I could, I had the instinct to turn on the camera app on my phone and started to record us. This is what was said.
Hey, LP, I need to talk to you.
Sure, what's up?
So, you don't feel safe at all working outside?
I'm kind of confused on why she's asking this. Yeah? Why?
Well, honey, I don't want to be the person to mention this, but if it's your time to be jumped, then it's your time. So why don't you go out there and push those carts, okay? I don't want to write you up for not doing your job.
Wow, so you're telling me that you'll write me up because I don't feel safe doing something, huh? I think I'm going to talk to the store manager real quick to see if this is also part of the law.
You don't need to involve him. Just go do your job.
No, I think he needs to know this. So that's what I'm going to go do. I marched myself back to the office again. Luckily, store manager was still there.
What's up, OP?
Sir, I think you need to hear this. I pulled out my phone and proceeded to show him the video of the entitled assistant manager trying to force me to go outside. The look on his face went from contempt to annoyed real quick.
Hey, OP, send me that video.
And he pulls out his radio.
Entitled store manager, please report back to the manager's office.
So I sent him that video, and as soon as the entitled assistant manager showed up, she saw me and instantly got upset.
Sir, let me tell you what really happened.
No need. He held up his phone. Why don't we both sit here and listen together on what really happened?
The store manager told me to leave and locked the door behind me. I didn't know what else to do, so I just went back to my department and continued what I was originally doing. It wasn't long until I saw the cool floor manager running back to me looking concerned.
LP, dude, what the hell just happened?
With what?
Dude, entitled assistant manager just got suspended from work. Apparently, she was told that her actions are not what managers do, and that she can't force someone to do things they don't feel safe doing because she has a title. I just assumed it had something to do with you because of what happened to entitled floor manager.
Hey, I did say that I didn't feel comfortable pushing carts. It's not my fault that management here needs a refresher in what the law is. Well, after this, about a week or two, I finally saw entitled assistant manager return to work. She wasn't too happy to see me, but she did have to apologize. 4. So this happened last night to my friend, and he was pissed off about it, because it made him last a D&D night with us. I wouldn't have believed his story if I just read about it or heard about it, but now I'll believe a lot more of those far-fetched stories. Be prepared for a wild ride. My friend is a cashier at a gas station in our smaller Montana town. It's still a bigger city for Montana, but I grew up in Charlotte, so comparatively speaking, it's a small town. So, my friend Jay got asked to show up early for his shift to help cover, which he did. Right when it was getting close for his time to leave, his shift lead had to go take a call from corporate since the manager was off. Right after the shift lead leaves, a busload of teens gets dropped off, and he didn't want to screw over the other guy and leave him all alone, so he was going to stay to help knock out the herd. One of the herd asks for some tobacco product, and Jay asks for his ID, and he said he must have forgotten it, when suddenly a wild Karen appears and cuts the line. She was holding 2 20-ounce Coke bottles she had found in the 1-liter cooler, and wanted the drinks for free because they were in the wrong place. My friend, being on a now 10-hour shift, was getting fed up, and tried to explain, no, nicely, until she started getting bitchy about it. So he just straight up tells her, "Fuck no, you aren't getting those for free because someone else put them in the wrong cooler instead of putting them back." Shocked Pikachu face from Karen. "How dare you? I'm in here all the time, and no, you're not. I'm here all the time, and I've never seen you, so leave." Karen then storms out, and Jay directs his attention back to the no ID tobacco guy. "So do you have that ID?" Guy says no and just leaves. Next person needed to prepay for gas, so Jay looks out the window to check to make sure the money is going to the right pump. That's when he notices Karen's car producing white smoke. Karen comes storming in, demanding to use their phone. Jay allows it because he assumed she was going to call a tow truck or something to come pick her up. She calls the cops and says that Jay destroyed her car and assaulted her and tried to kill her and needs help. Cop arrives and takes statements. Jay goes get shift lead and says the cops need to see the tapes. Shift lead has to end the call with corporate now for this. Video shows that a guy who was in Karen's car got out to try and fix something in the engine, then get back in the car. Then Karen goes out and the car is fucked. Karen demands a manager and Jay has to call the manager in. Cops call for backup as Karen is raving at the mouth mad, claiming that he somehow did it because Jay wouldn't sell her drinks. Backup was the sheriff and an ambulance to check to see if she was on something. Somehow she was clean. Sheriff asks Jay if he would like to press charges on Karen, to which he said yes, and as many charges that he could think of that were relevant. At this point, he was stuck at work 3 hours past when he was supposed to have been off. Karen gets forced out by the first cop, but not arrested, and the sheriff asks Jay to come down to the station to file charges. Jay says no, and they do the paperwork there in the break room. Jay finally gets to leave 3 hours and 30 minutes after his shift was supposed to end. Jay runs home to get his stuff to make it here, which at this point, all of us have been joking he's dead and playing Magic the Gathering in Cards Against Humanity. He swings by a nearby gas station to get snacks and drinks, since Arby's was packed. Inside the other gas station is this same Karen. This is why I mentioned we're a small town at the top. At the register are 3 Mexicans who don't speak English, who are trying to buy cigs, and the cashier doesn't speak Spanish, so the transaction is taking forever. The Karen gets out of Jay's way to let him go before, out of some fear this guy has voodoo powers, and will cause her to erupt in smoke or something. Jay gets his snacks and leaves, finally making it to the game, where he recounts this honestly unbelievable tale, but Jay isn't a liar or a teller of tall tales, so I believe it. This tale has opened me up to believe so many more tales I thought were fishy on the Entitled People and Parents subreddits. 5. Hello friends, I have a story, this time from my current job. I take care of adults with special needs. Let me first start off by saying I love my job. I've been doing this for 1 year and it's the greatest job I've ever had in my life. With that being said, because I'm so young, 31, most people in my field are 40 and above, most people don't know that I was a substitute teacher and mainly had the special needs kids. And I am a special needs person myself. I have ADHD, OCD, Tourette syndrome, and cerebral palsy. Some of my coworkers don't think I've had enough experience or know how to deal with this group of awesome individuals. What I do is drive to a group home, load my clients into a van, and drive them to an activity center, where me and other staff members hang out and take care of them, then drive them back home. That previous May, our center closed and a new one was in the process of being built, so the group homes were instructed to stay at their homes and were assigned a staff member to watch them. I was assigned to the group home that I drove to and picked them up. Note, at these group homes, there is a staff member watching them 24/7, 365. They are never left alone. The story takes place in January of 2022, while the group homes were still staying at their homes during the day. My shift started at 7 a.m. and ended at 3. I like being early, just in case my coworkers need to leave early, also gives us a chance to talk about or report anything that's going on with the clients. Example, this client did not sleep, this client had a medical problem or emergency, and so on. During the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift, it is their job to check on the clients regularly, assist them in any way. One of our clients had to be changed, clean, and keep them safe. I go to the house at 6:40, so I sat on the couch, looked at my phone, and was waiting to clock in. Note, our company's rule, like most companies, was you could not do any work off the clock. So as 6:50 rolled around, one of my clients woke up and came out of his room. Note, because of my Tourette syndrome, I had a very loud voice, so sometimes my normal speaking voice can come across as yelling. Plus, this particular client does not listen or respect anyone that does not have a little firmness in their voice. The following conversation happened. Client, go back to bed. It's too early for you to be up. My entitled coworker responds,
He pissed all over himself. Don't tell him to go back to bed.
At that time, I did not see that he had peed his pants. Also note, it was entitled coworker's job to make sure that didn't happen. I was standing up to go change him, but entitled coworker guided him back to his room, so I sat down, since I had about 5 minutes before my shift started. Entitled coworker walked in. They slammed a plate she was washing.
You're so fucking lazy. All you do is lay around this house, yell at the clients, and sleep, and I'm sick and tired of it, and will not deal with it anymore.
When people yell or fuss at me for dumb reasons, in this case, what she said was false, I get stone-faced, keep my mouth shut, and just let the stupid person look stupid, hopefully making them realize they sound stupid. Plus, this person is not worth my job. So there I am, sitting there, stone-faced, not saying a word. She gets angry, and walked out the door. 7 hit the clock, and I start to finish the dishes she left. She walks back in.
Don't fucking start doing something after I yelled at you. You're so lazy it makes me sick. I noticed the client is back in his room. I bet you forced him to go back to bed.
No, he went back to bed on his own.
After you yelled and screamed at that poor baby.
I did not scream at him. I was firm with him. The client does not respond to anyone when you speak softly to him.
He's special needs. I have 2 degrees in psychology. You're young and stupid, most likely never graduated high school, let alone went to college.
Please note, I graduated high school with 3.6 GPA, plus have 3 bachelor degrees.
You have to talk soft to them.
At this point, readers, I lost the ability to keep my mouth shut. And that is why he and the other clients do not listen to or respect you.
They do respect me.
Do I need to wake them up and ask them? Because they have told me personally, they do not like or respect you. Because you try to throw your degrees in their faces. Right about then, her ride showed up and she left without another word. I finished my shift without incident. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Idiots in the Wild, episode 70. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories and sent in stories for use in this video. Right, many apologies for being missing in action for the past 2 days? Yeah, 2 days. Lady Rona came calling and she gave me a spanking. And I didn't even have to pay her. No, tested positive for COVID. If you follow me on the Discord, you'd have seen that. I posted the picture of the result, as is traditional these days. And took 3 tests, so definitely positive. And I did post an update on the community tab here on YouTube, but not everybody's able to see those, I don't think. So just to clear things up here, that's why I've been missing for the past few days. 2 days. But I'm back now, and I know you're going to tell me, please rest, Hellfreezer, and I really do. I love you guys so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the kindness you're showing me. But I've took the maximum amount of time I can afford to take off. So I'm back. I'm working. Got through today's recording fine. Barely even coughed. It's okay. So we'll plod on, and I'll just rest as much as I can while not recording. Hasn't hit me too bad, thankfully. I don't really feel any worse today than I did 2 days ago, so that's fine. And I could probably go out next week, but I'm not gonna. I'm just going to isolate for a couple of weeks because, why not? But I've got everything I need to take care of me. I've got plenty of food, plenty of painkillers. I've got like fruit and fruit juice and plenty of cold water and everything as well. It just sucks that it happened when there was a bit of a heat wave. But that being said, before we move on to Hellfreezer's question of the day, I'm gonna catch up and shout outs. I think I missed 3 because I was ill, but I will catch up because I really do feel bad when I miss a shout out. I know you guys understand, but I still feel bad. I'm British, any excuse to feel bad. Let's see. Right, okay, right. 2 birthday shout outs for July 19th. First one goes to... Let's see. To John Chen. And John is... I don't know who John is, but they were a year older on the 19th there than they were before. Okay. And as is traditional, as to make it up to you, I give John and the next person full permission to celebrate for 1 full month. So let's say right through to the 21st of August, you may celebrate as I missed your shout out as a reward. I will also have some ice cream later in your honor. That's why I'm going to do that, yes. Out of respect, I will have the ice cream. And we have another one for the 19th. Okay, there we go. And today's the next birthday shout out goes to Kathy. And Kathy was 65 years old. I do love that. I've got so many subscribers who listen to my stuff just all across the gamut. Like with younger people, I've got young 65-year-old people. I've got young middle-aged people, and I'm sure there must be a few like young old people and old young people. I've got a very wide variety of subscribers, and I'd love that I appeal to so many people. It makes me think I did the right thing in having diverse content. Right, and let's see. So, Kathy, as I said to John, you are also allowed to celebrate your birthday for a full month, and I will also have some ice cream in your honor. Oh dear, I'm going to have 2 lots of ice cream. Okay, I'll have a whole tub, a 500 ml tub, and that'll be fine. Don't worry. But again, it is out of respect for both of you. Right, and we're going to do the birthday song. We're going to sing happy birthday, but then have another shout out after that. Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Dear Kathy. Happy birthday to you. Okay, and we have one more shout out. This is, just to clarify, I'll do shout outs for pretty much anything, as long as it's not political related. So, anniversaries, birthday shout outs, graduations, your dog successfully catching its own tail. I'm good. As long as you guys get a kick out of it, I'm happy to do it. And this one is from Becca, and this goes to husband Chris. It's Becca's husband Chris, not mine. Maybe I'll steal him away. Anyway, I wouldn't do that. Okay. It says, Chris, thank you for continuing to love and support me, for staying with me through thick and thin, for being my rock and being my sunshine. I'm so grateful that I get to spend the rest of my life with you, and I can't wait to grow old with you. Happy 6-year anniversary with love, your Moonlight. Okay, and if anyone has a shout out they'd like for themselves or for any other reason, you can send that along to kingofthecities@gmail.com. That's kingofthecities@gmail.com. As I said, for anything you might have in mind, the only thing I won't do is political stuff, or I won't do free promotion of a business. If you do want me for business-related stuff, you can hire me through Fiverr. I'll drop a link if anyone needs that. But other than that, regular shout-outs are free, and they always will be. Because that's how we like to do it here at Cassidy Hellfreezer. Okay, now, I'm yammering on, aren't I? We're almost at 7 minutes. Better wrap up soon. I did have things to catch up on. Right, let's see. Now, before we go, we'll have Hellfreezer's question of the day, and wonderful socially distanced hugs to you if you stuck around this long. And today's question is, as I'm feeling poorly, what is a remedy that you do that you don't think anyone else does, or it's not a common thing? Like, when I'm feeling ill, one of the things I like to do is, in the winter month when I'm feeling ill, not so much in hot weather, but we have a drink in the UK called Lemsip. And it's a cold and flu remedy. Cold and flu remedy. I'm getting tongue-tied now. And you boil it. It makes a nice drink. Soothes your throat. Helps you deal with your aches and pains and your headache and everything. If you don't have that brand name, I'm sure you have an equivalent where you live. What I like to do is actually like to put a little, or used to before they changed the recipe because, they put artificial sweeteners in it, is I would fill it 3/4 way and then cool it a little by adding Lucozade. And it made it, it was just so bloody good. That was one of the few highlights of being ill because there really aren't any others, are there? So let me know what some of your remedies are. Maybe it's an old home remedy that works great for you. Because Lucozade for me was something when I was a kid I only had when I was sick, and it wasn't till I was older, like in my teens, I realized, you can actually just buy this when you want it. They sell it everywhere. Again, before they absolutely ruined it by taking some of the sugar out, but that's another discussion. Worst decision they made. Anyway, what are some of yours? Let me know in a comment below. Okay, and with that, I'm going to stop talking, rest my voice, and get these fans on. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.